Neon humming on Lower Broad, coffee hot as a WSM tube. Y'all pull up a chair. This week in country music history takes us from a Virginia trestle to the Opry Circle, with a stop in a Nashville cutting room where fiddles and pedal steel were tuned just so. Let's start in Nashville, September 25th, 1962. A miner's daughter from Butcher Holler steps onto the Grand Ole Opry stage, not as a guest, but as family. Loretta Lynn is officially inducted, and she calls it the greatest moment of her life. 2 years earlier, she'd slept in the car out front chasing a dream. This night, she's got a pew in the Mother Church of Country Music. That's Grand Ole. Opry history right there. Doors opening not just for Loretta, but for every straight-talking woman who'd follow her. Now slide one day back, September 25th, 1961. Over on Music Row at Bradley Studios, Ray Price is cutting a whole album of Bob Wills, 12 tracks that'll wear the shuffle right into your boots. Ray Price sings San Antonio Rose isn't just a tribute. It's a handoff between Western swing and the 60s Nashville sound. Grady Martin's guitar, Pig Robbins' piano, Jimmy Day's steel, Willie Nelson on acoustic. Good gracious. When that record hits in '62, DJs vote it their favorite country LP. If you've ever argued about 4/4 versus that walking shuffle, this session is your classroom. Let's turn the calendar to September 26, 1925, Glendale, Arizona, where Marty Robbins, born Martin David Robinson, takes his first breath. Folks called him a Renaissance man, racer, writer, hit machine. He'd stand under the Opry lights and make a room go quiet with El Paso, then turn around and rev an engine at the Nashville Fairgrounds. Crossover before crossover was a buzzword. He could lean rockabilly or Hawaiian, gospel or straight-ahead honky-tonk. But it was the storytelling, gunsmoky ballads, hearts and desserts, that kept him charting year after year. All right, grab your coat. We're stepping off the stage and onto a trestle outside Danville, Virginia. September 27th, 1903. Southern. Railway's fast mail, Old 97, comes in hot, behind schedule, pushing downgrade too hard, and leaves the rails at Stillhouse Trestle. 11 souls lost. Within 20 years, that wreck is a song sung from tobacco barns to parlor rooms. Vernon Dalhart puts it on wax in 1924, the wreck of the Old 97, and country music suddenly has a million-selling record on its hands. It's not just a tragedy. It's the sound of rural America realizing its stories belong on records, too. Circle back to Nashville, September 24th, 1997, Grand Ole Opry House. Vince Gill's hosting the 31st CMA Awards, and the headlines are simple. Strawberry Wine sweetens the table. Single and Song of the Year. George Strait's Carrying Your Love With Me takes album. Trisha Yearwood holds the Female Vocalist Trophy. Diamond Rio's Your Vocal Group. And Garth Brooks ropes an Entertainer of the Year. Tim and Faith's It's Your Love walks off with vocal event. If you were anywhere near a car radio that fall, you remember hearing those records ride the airwaves like they paid the power. Bill.Chart and Radio Corner. While we're in that late September pocket, picture the phones lighting up in '61. Leroy Van Dyke's Walk On By is fixing to begin that marathon 19-week run at #1 on Billboard's country chart. Long. Enough to make DJs double-check their cue sheets. However you count the issue dates, the fall belongs to that 2 minutes and 19 seconds of heartache. Lightning rundown before we close. September 30th, 1950. WSM-TV flips the switch, and for the first time, the Grand Ole Opry can beam itself into living rooms, not just out across the night sky on 650 AM. Same date, 1954, Patsy Cline signs her first recording deal with 4-Star. The contract terms were rough, but it put her in Owen Bradley's orbit and set the table for Walkin' After Midnight and all that came after. And because a good week always has a coda, I'll tip my hat just outside the window. On October 2nd, 1954, a 19-year-old Elvis Presley walks on at the Ryman for his one and only Opry appearance. Accounts vary on the advice he got afterward, but what's certain is he drove back down the road, then found his footing on the Louisiana hayride, and the rest of America found him. So what ties this week together? Access, a membership card for Loretta, a cutting room pass for Ray to shake hands with Bob Wills' ghost, a birth certificate for Marty, who'd show how wide country music could stretch, A railroad ballad that proved everyday lives were worth 1,000,000 sales. A television switch that put the Opry in your den. Country is not just a sound. It's a set of doors somebody held open for the next traveler. If you've ever waited on a chart call or driven through the dark with WSM bouncing off the ionosphere, you know the feeling. That's our week, y'all. See you back here next time with another armful from the archive box and a fresh pot on the percolator.